למחזיקים בה.
Hello, and welcome to my program, Changing Lives. I want to read to you a little story 2,000 plus years ago that's relevant today. It's in the book of Hadassah. For you, Hadassah means Esther, chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia over 127 provinces. This man was responsible for a great piece of land like no other person. And as we are given positions like that, we have to be responsible. We have to act responsible. We have to act with fairness and kindness. Okay? Now, again, basically what I wanted you to understand, this man was like the President of the United States, like the Iran and the you know what, okay? We have to act responsible. Now, then in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in the city of Shushan, his second palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princesses and his servants, the power of Persia and Media and nobles and princesses of provinces being before him. Okay, he threw a party, a big party, with all the important people, governors, whoever he had in 127 states, provinces. Okay. Now, verse 4, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. What's a score? 20. So 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 80 days, okay, plus. Let's just say this. Can you and I afford to throw a party 6 months long with beer flowing and all the food they can eat? This guy was rich. And again, what's important here, I want you to recognize, okay, is we have to act responsible. Did this man need to throw a party 6 months long? Now let's go on, okay? We jump into verse 10. Because I'm trying to get a point across to us. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, okay, he commanded Mehuman, Bitsa, Harbona, Begatha, and Abaga, and Zethar, and Carcas, and 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus, the king. He commanded his 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5, 6 in command under him, plus chamberlains. These were men who were castrated, because he's not going to let a man fully developed spend time with his wife or the other, let's say 300 plus women that he had, okay? To bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess beauty, her beauty, for she was fair to look on. Okay, what the king was doing was bragging. What we learned from the verses before, he was bragging about all his riches. Okay, and now he's bragging because he's drunk like a skunk, if I can say that, which is not fair to the skunk, but nonetheless, he wanted, now here's what he's wanting. Bring me my wife. I'm going to prove to you she's more prettier than any of your wives. 127 provinces, the governors and high people like that, okay? I want to show you how. How's he going to show her? Show that she's more beautiful than the rest. That she only wear her crown. That she come out stark naked. To show her private parts. To show her butt. To show every piece about her. To prove to these men. Now, did he have to prove? Is it fair to his wife? Okay. That she was the more beautiful than anything he ever had. Then the other governors of 127 provinces. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandments by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Okay. Then the king said to the wise men which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew law and judgment. So he said to his lawyers, he wasn't going to make a decision on his own. He needed professional people. You're going to get lawyers. I better not go into that subject. And the next unto him was Karshena, Sheshtar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memucan. Excuse me. The 7 princesses of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first of the kingdom. Well, again, he the first in command, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, but under the king. What shall we do unto, he's going to ask his lawyers, what shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king? She said no. She told me no. She was not going to come out. Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered, let's stop for a minute. Because this is very, very, very important. Okay. Would your wife want to go out like that? And let me give you another clue. Something that's not written here, but is in the books of the Jewish people. Okay? Vashti. Okay? Vashti was, okay, what the king did not know, and none of the men of power there, no one knew, only, okay, this woman had responsibility. It's not that she didn't love him. Okay? It's also that she had the beginnings of leprosy. And in those days, leprosy was not curable. Okay? So Vashti is doing her husband a favor. But she can't tell him because he's bombed out of his mind. And if she did want to tell him, which I believe she would, excuse me, she wanted to tell him alone, not in front of all his buddies. So, and Memucan answered before the king and the prince Vashti that the queen has not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princesses and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. So Memucan, the lawyer, is telling the king, if you let this slide, all of the women in all of your 127 provinces are going to say no to their husbands. they're not gonna if they don't feel like whatever he wants, they're not going to do it, and they're going to flat out embarrass him in front of all the people. No, you think again? You think the women are going to do that? And we have to remember, Vashti was an educated woman because they were rich. Okay. Yeah. Most of the women were poor. They were not educated. They didn't need an education. They were like cattle in those days. Okay. So all of a sudden the cows are going to complain. Get that idea here from Memucan. Now, when it shall be reported that King Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not. She said flat out, no. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the kings, princesses, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. Okay? And it pleased the king, let there be a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered. See, the king is ruling. He's half Persian from Iran, and he's half Median. What do you know about Median in your studies of the Bible? Later, Moses will marry a girl, a woman, and her father is a Midianite priest. That it not be altered, that Vashti shall come more before King Ahasuerus shall come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. I'm going to stop there and let's talk about it. Okay, he's going to throw her out of the palace, set her up in a little house somewhere, but she's going to be out of the picture. No more to work her part as queen. How does this is the 20th century, 21st century, the year 2025. What something like that has happened recently in the history of mankind? In the UK, in England, where the Crown Prince recognized that his wife was stealing the goods, some of the goods from the palace, some selling them like she needed money, some giving to her daughter. And the worst part about it, once upon a time, this king was married to a young, beautiful girl. And she left her for you know who. And they found out that she was cutting up the wedding dress that the young queen wore to ruin it. And the king decided, this is 21st century, this is recently, the king decided what? To put her away. That she would never, never, ever, ever, ever. He wasn't going to divorce her, but he was going to put her in a smaller palace, a real small palace, and never, never more for her to act as queen and make any decisions whatsoever. Never any more to walk with the king. You know who I'm talking about. This is modern day. Okay. Now let's go back. Okay. Let's go back to the story, because this is the more difficult part to understand. The Bible says King Ahasuerus put her away in somewhere else, but she would no longer, Vashti would no longer function as the king. In the history, man's history, guess it did not end there. What happened? The king Ahasuerus still now sober, and acting more than a child, ordered, and it was done, to have Queen Vashti hung by the neck until she was dead. And it came to pass exactly that way. For Vashti, who had respect for her husband, not to embarrass him going out there stark naked in front of all the governors and showing that she had leprosy, she said no. And what kind of heart, what kind of man was this, that he was not satisfied to put her away in a small little bungalow or hut, whatever, that he still had to do more? What kind of heart did he have that he felt he had to do more because of his reputation, because of who he thought he was? And you know what? In today's world, can you compare it to Charlie Kirk's? That there was a young man who hated him so much that he was willing to go to prison for life, that in his country they might, in his state of Utah, they might put him before a firing squad of 5 men. And you know what how the government works? One of them would have fake bullets. Why? Because no one knew which one. So no one supposedly could feel guilty about what they will do if they choose the firing squad. This is modern day times. This is modern day times. How could the king Ahasuerus be so mean to have her hung by the neck until dead? We must continue to pray. We must never stop. Get a hold of God. Because, young lady, some of those Vashtis might be you. And your husband, Ahasuerus, loves you so much, enough to kill you. Our world, where is our world headed for? Where? Are we all going down the drain? No good? Are we all going to hell? I don't want to go there. I don't want my wife to go there. I don't want my daughters to go there. I don't want my sons to go there. Do you? This is your friend, Frank Porter. This is my program, Changing Lives. God bless you.